Hi guys, welcome back to our Man United podcast, Never Ignored. We're on our 7th episode now, and we're quickly running out of content because there's nothing happening. We've got myself, MT, and Aleem.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I can vouch for what MT's just said. There is literally nothing happening in the world of football, understandably, but not fantastic for the football podcast.
Yeah, so it's been 15 days since we played LASK, which was our last game. It feels like a lot longer than that, but yeah, I don't know. How are you coping without the football?
It's very strange at the moment because I've never really experienced it in my lifetime where football has just been so absent. I know normally you get like the summer periods, etc. But even then,
Well, the summer you expect it to happen.
yeah,
right?
and you get the constant content of transfer rumors and pre-seasons and that kind of stuff and how the managers are feeling for the upcoming season. So you still got something to keep the appetite going, but currently it's literally nothing. And it's not fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, so the latest is they pushed that date back where they're going to have a review to 30th of April, but even that's not seeming likely because we're under pretty much a lockdown, right, in the UK. So
yeah, so it seems unlikely, and even in a lower league football, so below the fourth league, they've just nullified the season currently, haven't they?
Yeah, and this reading reports today that there's a growing consensus that they might want to cancel the whole thing, because they're saying, which true, that it's a bit embarrassing to be considering when they're going to play games again when people are dying and whatnot.
It's actually a valid point. I can't imagine sitting in that room, being part of that panel, and deciding that is the most important thing to sort out currently.
Exactly. But yeah, what can you do? So, to keep us up with some content, I mean, we were trying to find topics to talk about. There's nothing really in the news. So we've decided to look at our best Man United team, so starting 11, but the condition is that they have to play less than 100 times for United, and they have to be an ex-player. So we can't use, obviously, players that we signed this season like Wan-Bissaka, Bruno, those kind of guys, because they're still, you'd like to think they're going to have nice, long United careers.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. As far as we know, they're still playing for United.
Yep. So those are the conditions. We've gone for a 4-3-3 formation. So we're both going to nominate players, and we'll have a quick discussion to pull together a final team. So we haven't discussed the nominations with each other before. So we're hoping that we're going to have different players. If we end up with 11 players all exactly the same, then it's going to be a very short podcast.
and just to caveat this, due to the nature of the fact that most of these players have less than 100 appearances for United.
It was hard. It was very difficult.
And genuinely speaking, they either tended to not have fantastic careers at United or they moved on fairly quick.
Yeah, so I've based it on their overall careers and what I consider their overall talent, rather than necessarily their contribution to United.
My intention was to base it on their contribution to United, but as I got further into the process of choosing my 11, I understood that wasn't gonna be a reality. So I then switched to
mine went right out of the window with the goalkeeper. That was my intention as well. But as soon as I got to the goalkeeper, that was it. I gave up. But yeah, as our resident goalkeeper, well, you might as well get started with your first nomination.
Okay, this is my nomination, and I've predominantly based this on just his overall number of appearances in the Premier League. So I think that's a decent mark of being.
So you've gone for Premier League. So we're definitely someone different then.
Awesome. So I have nominated Ben Foster as my Manchester United less than 100 appearances goalkeeper.
Okay, so he was actually my second choice. So I think I'm probably going to end up leaning towards your answer on this one. But my nomination was Victor Valdez. Because he's only played twice for United. I think one was a sub when De Gea got injured, and the other was one start. But he had a pretty good career at Barca.
He did. He's a strange one because he never had much of a Spanish international career, did he?
Yeah, I guess he was always number 2 to Casillas, right?
Yeah.
So Casillas played probably almost 200 games for Spain, I think. So there was no chance of him getting in.
Yeah.
Getting in.
I recall Valdez coming in when Van Gaal wanted to make his point to De Gea when De Gea was having that whole Madrid fiasco, and he started.
Was that under Van Gaal? I know he joined under Van Gaal, but I thought he joined mid-season or something silly like that. It was he. I know he got a really bad injury at Barca.
Yeah,
His contract finished there, and then he just randomly turned up at United one day.
Yeah, and then I think he started the season, and then there was a debate as to whether he could be our number one. But yeah, he came in straight away.
I think that was Romero. I think Romero started the season. De Gea was on the bench, and we signed Valdez later that season.
Ah, okay.
Because I remember Romero starting one of the seasons when De Gea was having his contract thing.
Yeah.
I remember he conceded a dodgy goal against Swansea, which one of it.
I've got a feeling that the memories that we're recalling him to it happened in 2 different seasons, and that shows how much De Gea has this Madrid fiasco.
Because Valdez, I remember he made his debut once towards the end of the season when De Gea got injured, and then he started a game randomly, but he fell out with Van Gaal, as most players did.
Yep.
But yeah, Ben Foster, I guess, he's had a pretty good Premier League career, right?
Yeah, so he's made 477 professional appearances, so I thought that's almost 500, respectable. Shows he must be decent. I've got a quite funny quote about him as well from AD Boothroyd, the current under-21 England manager. The quote is,
he used to be a Watford manager back in the day.
He's better than current Manchester United goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar, and he claimed Foster would be the best goalkeeper in the world. That's quotations. This is obviously back when Foster was at Watford. I think he was still on the books at United at that time. He was on loan at Watford. So that's AD Boothroyd's opinion on a young Ben Foster.
Saying he's better than Van der Sar is pushing it.
Yeah, I agree. Considering Van der Sar was one of the best keepers in the world at the time.
I was watching Premier League Years the other day, and it was about when we signed Barthez.
Yes.
And we played Fulham, and Van der Sar was there, and it just made me think, like, if we'd signed Van der Sar when he went to Fulham, having him for 15 years or something, whatever after that, it would have been incredible having him for that long.
It would have been terrific, but I recall, I think the reason he went to Fulham was because he didn't have a great time at Juve.
He was number 2 to Buffon, right?
Yeah, and his reputation dropped there because Fulham getting Van der Sar was a bit of a steal if you look at it.
Yeah, I think they signed him for like 2 million or something like that, 2-3 million, which even back then was not much. But yeah, Ben Foster. I think he didn't play much for United, right? Probably about 20, 23 appearances, something like that.
So he got a lot of injuries. He did get a lot of injuries.
He actually, I think he did okay. They just, I don't know what time did he? I guess he came into the team after Van der Sar left, right?
So yeah, he came in around then, and so as part of.
Did we get De Gea straight away? I can't even remember this. All this time, the time is just getting merged together.
So whilst I was preparing this list, I looked into Ben Foster's career a bit more. So I don't want people to think I have some obsession with Ben Foster and I know all this stuff off the top of my head. But what it did do is it made me remember against Chelsea in the Community Shield, he dropped 2 clangers and then we lost on a penalty shootout, and he was largely blamed for it. And then going forward after that, he became, I think, what is currently what Jordan Pickford's going through, where every time he made a mistake, he got quite heavily criticised for it, because he started off as our number 1 that season. I think Van der Sar was injured, and then he shortly lost that. He lost that after like 4 games because he made a couple more mistakes, and that was it. So
did he overlap with De Gea, or De Gea came after him?
I think De Gea came after him. I think Ben Foster went off to Watford on a permanent following a loan, or to West Brom, and then that was the year De Gea came in, which was 20.
Okay, so I'm just looking at it now. So yeah, the year we sold Foster was the same year that. So we signed De Gea the year after that. So he'd gone to Birmingham City.
Okay,
that's bizarre. He went to Birmingham City, then he went to West Brom on loan from Birmingham.
Yeah, Ben Foster has no loyalty.
and then West Brom permanently for quite a while.
But I was surprised the number of appearances he made for West Brom. I made just short of 300 appearances.
Yeah, 209 in the league, you see? Which, it's quite a lot. And they're all in the Premier League as well.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're in agreement. Ben Foster is our number 1.
Yeah, I'll yield. I'll give up Valdez. We'll put down Ben Foster as our.
Awesome. I'll let you go first now in the defensive line.
Right. So we're gonna have to start with right back. I'm not happy with my right back choice either, to be honest. But
I'm not either. Mine's a stretch, but I'll let you go.
He's a Premier League title winner, so that's something. Danny Simpson. He played 8 times for United. I think most people probably wouldn't even. I can't remember him. I know he's from United's academy, but I can't ever remember him playing for.
I remember he had a bit of a run in the Champions League for some reason. It was that season Neville kept getting injured.
Right. That could have been a lot of seasons as well. But yeah, I really struggled with right back. But yeah, Danny Simpson. That's what I'm throwing out there.
So I struggled, and I decided to adopt the FIFA World 11 approach, which is when they just stick like wingers or midfielders in
Okay,
random positions.
the Graf Crooks
Yeah, the
scored a
Garwood
full.
team of week. Yeah, so I went for, but to be fair, he's still a fullback. It's just not a right back. I think I went for Fabio, just because I like Raphael a lot, but Raphael doesn't
Yeah,
qualify for this
Raphael
one.
played more than 100 times, right?
So I went for the closest thing in terms of a genetic approach. But no, genuinely, I thought Fabio, he did have a decent-ish career for United. He wasn't anything particularly spectacular. Whilst I was reading up on him, at his time under United, he got into the Brazil squad, made 2 appearances for them. Started the Champions League final against Barca, the one we lost 3-1. He seemed to have an okayish career at fullback for United. It was that time where we just didn't have any good fullbacks.
Yeah,
Which I
I
think was
remember that
a
time.
large contributing factor to why he was getting into the team. But I went for Fabio because I just thought I like this team to have some Brazilian flair in the back.
Yeah, I think if he was actually a right back, I think he's definitely had a better United career than Simpson. Arguably, Simpson's had a better career overall.
I agree. Yeah, if you win the Premier League, it trumps anything Fabio did.
And he was actually a right back.
Yeah.
so surprising. I'm still leaning towards Simpson on this one.
I will also. I'll go for Simpson on the merit that he won the Premier League.
Cool. We don't need to spend too much time on right back because I don't think either of us are too happy with too happy with our picks anyway. So we'll settle on that. So, but English talent so far, so that's good. Go on. So centre backs. I'll have to let you take the first one.
Okay. Well,
I think we're going to have a similar one.
I'll address the one that I think we both have because it's a bit of a no-brainer. PK.
Yeah, that was my position.
Yeah. So not much more need saying. When you look at the options, he's by far the best option that we have in that category.
And he was all right when he played. He didn't play much, but obviously he was behind Ferdinand and Vidic at the time, and he's gone on to have a great career. So yeah,
it was a strange one because I read that at the time. I don't know how true this was. Fergie had the choice. Well, he was choosing essentially as to who to keep on between Evans and PK, and he opted for Evans and let PK go because he couldn't keep both. And yeah, obviously in hindsight, PK did go on to win pretty much everything. And Evans went on.
He didn't join. He was joined Leicester after the I think. But Evans will still end up being a pretty decent defender.
Yeah, he was okay. Yeah,
maybe if Evans had gone to Barcelona and played with Puyol, maybe we'd be maybe we'd be looking at it a different way. But yeah, I think PK is a no-brainer really for that spot.
Cool. So we've agreed on that. So then I've gone for my next centre back option. I've chosen Michael Keane.
Okay.
Now, to be completely honest,
this is a stretch.
Yeah, it is a stretch. So I've gone for him based on the fact that I think at some point United did really want to keep him because of the number of loans.
They tried to sign him back as well, wasn't it, when he went to Everton?
Yeah, the number of loans he went on. I think generally speaking, if you go on he went on 4 loans. Generally speaking, the club wants to keep you. They see a future in you if they're investing you in loans. He didn't really make many appearances for United, 5 appearances. Another interesting thing I found about him as part of my case for getting Michael Keane into this team is that he won the Reserve Player of the Year award in 2012. Can you guess, Imti, who he beat?
Lingard.
Yes, Jesse Lingard.
I remember they were quite good friends, so that makes sense.
So that's my case for Michael Keane. But to be,
I think mine was going to blow you out of the water. I think on this one.
Okay, and to be honest, since he's gone to Everton, he doesn't seem to be having a terrific time. He's gone on to play for England. I think he's gathered a couple caps for England. So that's my case for Michael Keane.
So my guy, he's won the French Cup twice, French First Division once, the Spanish Copa del Rey once, the Super Copa de España, where I think that's their Community Shield once.
Yeah.
UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. He's won the World Cup. He's won the Euros, and he won the Premier League with United in 2002-03.
Oh, I know who you're going
for. Laurent Blanc.
Yeah, okay. I completely agree. Laurent Blanc is beaten. The only reason...
he was quite old when he came to United, but he still did a pretty good job. And I think
the only reason I didn't opt for Laurent Blanc was because I've never actually watched him play for United live, because I think I
actually have. I've actually seen him play in a Champions League game that I went to see in 2002. I actually physically seen him play live, which is pretty crazy.
First of all, I completely agree because I had him in my ultimate team as a icon last year, and he was really good. So, so I'm more than happy to have him in the backline with PK. That's quite a solid back too.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm always one to say stats don't tell the whole story. But if you look at he made 602 league appearances in his career.
Wow.
And check this, he scored 125 goals.
That's terrific. But he had like a weird position shift.
Yeah.
He went from midfield to the back, didn't he?
Yeah, and his actual overall career numbers was 708 games, 137 goals.
Yeah,
that's not bad for a centre back.
That's awesome. And the thing is, even when he played in midfield, he was more of a defensive midfielder. So even for a defensive midfielder, that's an incredible record. Never mind the centre.
And the two seasons he spent at United, he made 46 appearances in the first season and 29 in the second. So he did play a part in those teams.
Did he leave because he went on to retire, or did he move elsewhere?
He retired. That was United was his last move. So that was 2003 that he retired. So he was already 38-ish by then. So he was getting towards the end of his career. But yeah, I think he's a good shout.
Yeah, I think he. I don't know if he matches up to the mighty Michael Keane, but no, I'll give it to him definitely.
Cool. So we'll put Blanc in. Left back. I'm pretty happy with the left back as well. Actually, is Ainser.
Yes, I agree.
Was that your pick as well?
Yep.
So I remember when he left. Obviously, it ended a bit acrimoniously with him wanting to go to Liverpool, this and that, and Fergie selling him to Madrid.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, Evra's got big boots to fill. Is he going to be as good as Ainser? I was actually surprised that he actually didn't play. He didn't make it to 100 games.
Because you think he's one of those that did, right? If you don't look at the numbers. And the weird thing is, was there a season where Evra and Heinze overlapped?
Yeah, I think there was. Yeah. I think Evra was signed in the January or something.
Yeah.
And then Heinze left in the summer.
I think
it was about around something like that.
I think Evra came in at left back, and then Heinze started playing as a makeshift centre back. I don't know if that was you. No, I'm thinking Rio Ferdinand had an injury then. But yeah, he's one of those players. He was really well liked by the United fans, and I think he won Player of the Year at one point as well, whilst he was at United.
Not 100% sure, but yeah, it sounds fair.
Either Heinze has edited his own Wikipedia page, or that is correct.
But yeah, I always liked having him in the team. I thought he was a good player. Yeah, it's a shame that he wanted to go to Liverpool, but it's good that it didn't happen.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Heinze at left back, he's a good shout.
Yeah. So we're going for we'll summarise our back four then. So back five. We've got Ben Foster in goal, Simpson, PK, Blanc, and Heinze. So it's pretty solid to me. So I think Simpson could definitely do an upgrade.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a pretty solid back lineup. Let's
move on to the midfield.
Yeah. So we've gone for what was it? The 4-3-3 formation we were saying. So I'll let you go first. Let's have your first.
Okay. My first pick, Bastian Schweinsteiger.
That's my first pick as well.
Yeah. Because I'm basing obviously this not on his United career because he didn't.
See, I still I know he wasn't fantastic, and there's some other issues that came out after he left, but he still he put in a shift every now and then.
He came in at a time where we desperately needed some kind of leadership, and I think he did that when he was on the pitch.
Yeah, and it was a shame because with Van Gaal he wasn't fit really, and then when Mourinho didn't want to play him, but he was fit.
I was always interested. I wonder what actually happened. That news never came out. Like what he actually did to get him demoted.
Well, I read that apparently whenever he used to get injured, he always used to go back to Germany, and he'd spend almost more time in Germany than he would in Manchester. And it was more that the players were getting fed up with it, as well as Mourinho.
Okay.
So. But those are all stories, right? We don't know whether that's whether that's true. But obviously, he's a legendary player, World Cup winner, won everything with Bayern as well.
I remember when we signed him, I was very happy because at the time we didn't really know he wasn't completely fit, and you don't realize because you watch.
We thought he was still like a
workhorse,
the full version.
Yeah, and you don't realize because you watch these players in like maybe Champions League and Bundesliga, but when you come to the Premier League, if they're not fit, they really stand out that they're not fit.
Yep,
and it shows that the level of the energy you need, probably particularly in that position as well.
Yep, but yeah, so we're both in agreement with him, so we can move on from that. So my second midfielder was another import from Germany, Hargreaves.
It's also the midfielder I have gone for.
So we, like we said earlier, we were hoping to have. We had a decent amount of debate in the defense, but yeah, looking at the midfield so far, yeah, there's 2 out of 2.
Yeah.
I think again that was a no-brainer. I know Fergie said he was his worst ever signing for for United,
Quite the
but
accolade.
he did. I think it's just his fitness issues, right? Everyone could see he was a good
Yeah,
player.
he was good. When he was playing, he was really good. And again, when we
Yeah,
signed him, I was really happy because it was off the
yeah,
back of the World Cup. Was it we signed him?
yep.
And
But potentially, we could argue we could have maybe argued playing him at right back, right? Because he did in that Champions League run. He did sometimes play at right back for us.
yeah,
Was it right wing he played? I can't remember.
and he
Um,
scored that free kick against Arsenal. He scored
yeah,
a
quality
penalty.
free kick.
Yeah, he scored a
Yeah,
penalty in the shootout Champions League final.
yeah.
So yeah, I think he.
So yeah, whenever he was fit, he was a good player.
Yeah,
And he's had a good career outside of United as well.
it's a shame because he's one of those players that you can tell in his brain he knows what to do, but his body didn't always allow him because he was either injured
Yeah.
or he'd risk injury.
Terrible pundit though. I'm just going to throw it out there. not a fan of his punditry. Well, to be honest, I'm not really a fan of anyone on BT Sports punditry, but
and as part of his one of his little things that Hargreaves did, I think he was ahead of his time, uploading himself training.
yeah, to YouTube. Yeah, it was a bold. Well, yeah, it was a bold move. No one really did that back then. I think he was probably laughed at for doing it as well.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was kind of made a joke. Oh, this guy's uploading himself. But now, if anyone,
Yeah,
very
nowadays
normal.
everyone would do it, right?
Yeah, he was actually quite clever because he did get himself a move off the back of it.
Well, yeah, he ended up playing for Man City.
Yeah,
But it did. I always felt like they just signed him just because he came from United. It felt like they were in that phase still.
they were
where
in
it
that
was
strong
like, yeah,
phase of we have got something to prove.
yeah. So it's like, oh, this guy left United. He's available on free. Yeah, let's get him. It was a win-win situation, right? If he does rubbish, they got him on a free. If he does well, it's like, haha, we got him from United.
Exactly that.
But yeah.
Third man in
yeah,
this
so
midfield. Okay,
I'm hoping it's. Let's see. I reckon we'll probably end up with the same guy here as well. But let's see. Go on.
So again, I've gone for the Golf Crooks school of thought, and I've
Right.
opted for somebody who plays more on the wing. But I've kind of said, oh, he
But
played left.
Did he play centre mid a lot for Real Madrid by any chance?
No, I don't.
No, he didn't. Okay,
So I've
Go
gone
on.
for Memphis Depay in my midfield.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna have a debate then.
Good. Okay, so I've gone for Memphis Depay, more based on what he's achieved kind of before United and after United. His actual United career wasn't amazing. He tailed off badly in his second season. He made 4 appearances for us in the league in that year. He seemed to have a lot of issues, I think, adjusting to life in England or playing in the Premier League. But he was, from what we saw before we signed him at the World Cup for Holland, he was really good. And for Lyon, he's been fairly consistent since he's moved off to the French league. Another interesting bit of trivia I found about him was his transfer to Lyon was known as the first laptop transfer in football because he chose his next destination with the help from computer modeling by data intelligence company Sports. I don't know what that means, but
that sounds like this data intelligence company, Sports, have paid him for an advert, right? They've sent him a check and said, if anyone asks you how you decided on Lyon, you decided to.
When I read the first sentence of that trivia and it said the transfer is known as the first laptop transfer, I thought he just agreed via Skype or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
So who have you got him to?
Well, so interesting point. I do have Memphis in my team, but not at centre mid.
Ooh, okay.
So I'll put my case forward for my other centre mid, and then we'll see where it goes. But I have Di Maria as the other centre mid, which I kind of mentioned it with he played centre mid for Madrid quite a bit. But I think that would be a pretty good central midfield three. Schweinsteiger, Hargreaves, Di Maria.
See, this is where I have to remove myself from the situation because I did see Di Maria in that list, and part of me was like, I know you're a really good footballer. You've done really well at United.
But I hate him as well.
Yeah, and then I was like, I'd still rather have Depay in the position for you. And I told myself I need to remove my own biases.
That's it. I'm trying to take personal feelings out of it.
But with him, I was just like, this is my one exception in the team. Because otherwise I wouldn't have put Hargreaves in because he went to City after. But yeah, to be fair, if I'm talking about actual footballer, he was obviously better than Depay. Well, maybe Depay will go on to
I think he'd suit the position more as well.
Yeah, if we see this as Hargreaves and Schweinsteiger as kind of CMs and then a cam in front of them, he'd suit the position very well.
Yeah.
And he did. To be fair, his one season for United up until
He
actually,
got 13 assists, right?
yeah,
Even though it's still not, it's not a bad effort for a midfielder,
yeah,
and considering a lot of those games he came off the bench.
yeah. And like for me,
Um,
notable moment, the Leicester goal,
yeah,
the
and then
assist to
the assist for
Mata.
Mata, yeah. So he contributed a lot.
Yeah, he did have a good, I think, first half of the season. Then I think he had that whole ordeal of the house robbery, etc., and that unsettled him. It's just
Yeah,
the
and
way
then
he left.
our friend Ismail shouted at him in the car park as well.
Yeah,
That didn't help.
yeah.
But
I think that was detrimental in his final decision.
yeah,
But
um,
I think,
yeah, I think he deserves it over Memphis for a central midfield place.
yeah, you know what? I have to agree with you. If I take away my own thoughts about him, he's in terms
Yeah.
of his actual ability, etc. He is a really good footballer. It's just the way he left as well. The fact,
Oh yeah, don't worry. I'm 100% with you on
yeah,
that. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think for that centre mid position, for me he's the standout.
yeah.
Um,
If we look at our options based on what we
yeah,
had included in that centre midfield position,
because like I said, Memphis, I do have him in my team,
yeah,
but I can't see him slotting into a central midfielder
yeah.
kind of
Okay, makes sense.
position.
Let's put Di Maria there, and there's a
Di Maria, cool, right? Um, okay, so we'll summarise that midfield three then: Schweinsteiger, Hargreaves, Di Maria. Again, I think that's pretty solid.
again, yeah, that is quite a good midfield.
If all of them are on their peak at their peak,
Very good midfield.
yeah. And we mentioned Memphis, so I had him in next at right wing.
So shall I
Um,
go with who I put in at my right wing
yeah, go
slash
on.
wing position? So I went for Wilfried Zaha. So he did only make 4 appearances for us, and he more or less he didn't have a fantastic United career at all. But I think for Crystal Palace, he's been fairly consistent.
So funny enough, I actually did have Zaha in, but as soon as you said the word Memphis, I kind of thought actually Memphis is a better bet for the right wing
Yeah.
position.
So for the reason, the reason I went with Zaha is he's had a fairly consistent career post United. He's quite often linked with a bigger move. He had that time where England were very desperate to get him playing for them, which seems to have no one made much of a mention that he then just changed his mind and said, "I'll play for Ivory Coast," which I don't blame him. I think I quite like the way he actually played football. He's one of those fun players to watch because he was quite tricky. He just had a torrid time at United. Never seemed to get his foot in get his feet off the ground and get into the team consistently. But I do think he's actually a good player. Maybe at the time when he had the move, I think it was just too soon for him in terms of his own personal development.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when you compare him to Memphis, I know they're playing in different leagues, but their output is just since they've left United is just completely different.
Yeah.
Like Zaha scored 38 goals in 210 games for Palace. Memphis has scored 53 in 134 for Lyon. Memphis's worst seasons have been better than goals wise, at least have been better than Zaha's best.
Yeah.
But obviously, playing in Palace is harder.
Yeah, it's harder, and I think another thing when I do see Zaha playing, I think Memphis is more of a goal scorer. Zaha's more of a create / I'm going to get fouled in the box and get a penalty.
Yeah, well, I think that's it for me. I think Zaha's biggest aspect is getting fouled in the box.
Yeah.
Like even Memphis is like his set pieces are good, his delivery's good, his finishing's good.
Yeah, I think Memphis is more of a forward, and I'd say Zaha's a better winger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. For if I was picking like a front three, for me it'd be Memphis.
Yeah, but to be honest, if I look at it, because I'm not considering Memphis for the wing position, if I was matching him up and Zaha, the numbers you've just mentioned, and in terms of actual player. Memphis is a better player, right? He's a better player. He starts for his international team. Yeah, he leads his team in the French.
Well, let's if we discuss our other wing choice, then maybe we can discuss maybe picking 2 out of the 3. We'll try and figure out 2 of the 3 of them.
This makes sense. Yeah, sure.
So who have you got on the other side?
Again, I've taken a page out of my friend Goff's book, and I've gone for a forward. He's not necessarily a winger. I've gone for Carlos Tevez.
Okay.
I've gone for him purely because we all know he was a terrific player, tenacious, strong, like aggressive. He was a good goal scorer for us. He was part of that formidable front four. He did have his issues. I'm not too sure who with, but with getting a contract at United. I read that he ruled out signing for Liverpool, given the implications of the fact that he was a Manchester United player.
But he was fine to
yeah.
sign for City.
But then Manchester City, those implications didn't exist for him for every reason.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Manchester City probably provided him with a better commercial offer. I'm assuming. But yeah, I think he was a good player. He was a very tenacious striker. I think that's the word I would use for him. And he went on to have a good career at City. He went on to have a good career at Juventus. I think he then went to Boca Juniors, and now he's in the Chinese league. But I think, he had a good career, and previous United as well, West Ham and Corinthians. He was just one of those players that everyone knew, and they knew he was a good striker and a good finisher. What about yourself? Who have you opted for?
So I've gone for Mkhitaryan.
Choice.
I actually think he did all right for United. His swap with Sanchez didn't really work out.
No,
but as a winger, I think he's a pretty good option. But
he's having a very good time in Roma. I've heard that the Roma manager wants to sign him on, and also if we consider at Dortmund, he was a very good player as well. And
even again, like I said, we've been watching a lot of old football. So I watched our Europa League run. He was great in that.
Yeah, he was very good in that Europa League run.
But yeah, I'm willing to make you a deal.
I'm willing to consider this.
I'll give you Tevez on left wing if you give me Memphis on the other side.
I'm happy to do that because I actually think Memphis is better than Zaha, and I know it's probably not strictly correct to play Tevez on the left wing, but sometimes when I watch these old Premier League games, you'd see like strikers that were playing. They weren't wingers though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Rooney used to do it a lot.
Quite a lot with the Ronaldo and then like Berber in the middle, or whoever was in the Tevez, and it happened quite a bit. They weren't wingers. They were kind of like I remember back in the Pro Evolution soccer days, they'd call them right forwards and left forwards. They were more like that, left forward and a right forward rather than a centre forward.
So we'll settle on those two then. Because Tevez was my honourable mention for the next position that we'll get onto.
I'm very confident we have the exact same man for that striker position.
Yeah, and Tevez as well. He just qualifies, but for anyone wondering, 99 appearances he made for United.
Yeah,
so he just qualifies for our.
So clearly,
for our team.
What Tevez's thought was I need to qualify for a less than.
He knew what 10 years after he left United that there's going to be a podcast that he's going to. But yeah, to be honest, I don't think there's even any point discussing striker.
It's obvious.
Yeah. This is going to be funny now if we don't have the same person, but I'm pretty sure we both have Zlatan.
We definitely both have Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It's a tough choice between him and Bebe, but
between him and who? Sorry,
him and Bebe, but I opted for Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, I mean, so 53 appearances, 29 goals. So even if you're just going on his United career, he gets in.
Yep.
And then if you look at the rest of his career, I mean, he scored a ridiculous amount of goals, right? So
just an insane striker overall. When I was looking at his Wikipedia page prior to this, I was scrolling for a long time. That says it all. His page goes on and on because there's just so much information about him, stuff he's done, the things he's done at various clubs, etc. He's just definitely a generational talent.
Yeah, I mean, his ego is definitely, I think, still a bit bigger than he is talent.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's part of the package you get with him, right?
Yeah.
And when he plays for your club, you don't mind it,
of course.
But it's definitely annoying for other clubs.
Yeah.
That's part of the appeal as well. Like, it's nice. It's nice being hated. You know, what's the tagline of the thing is what hated adored, never ignored. Zlatan kind of fits that.
Yeah, it's a very accurate description for
Zlatan to a T, right? And yeah, I mean, I would still have him back probably now as a squad player.
He was recently very linked with Leeds, which is a really interesting one.
I read that story. I'm not sure if we could describe that as a link. That seems more of like a crazy man who is the Leeds chairman saying, I wanted to sign this guy, I wanted to sign that guy. It kind of reminds me of, you remember with Arsene Wenger used to do this? I
almost got this guy.
Yeah, every single player. Yeah. I almost signed this guy. Yeah. Ronaldo almost signed him. Messi almost signed him. Zlatan almost signed him. Like, it was literally every single player. I think there's an article you could find which was Arsene Wenger's almost 11, and it'd be like the greatest team in history because he just said
it's
for like
crazy.
every single
It's crazy because he actually genuinely. I've seen a picture of Ibrahimovic with an Arsenal shirt on.
Yeah, there's him and Yaya Toure had a trial as well, wasn't it? There's
so.
But yeah, I think there's not really that much more to say about Zlatan. It's the easy choice, that one.
Just out of interest to you, who would you have managing this team from all of our managers?
Do they have to have the 100 appearances rule as well?
No,
because I think Moyes is the only option in that case, right? That within recent years,
it's a bit of a no-brainer that the great Sir Alex.
Yeah, I mean,
I genuinely think Sir Alex with that team would win us a title.
Oh, easily,
right?
He would. Look at with that starting 11,
I think the only suspicious position
right back
and goalkeeper maybe, but that's it. I think the rest of the team are very solid if we're talking about them in their peak years.
Well, even Ben Foster, like he's had a good Premier League career, and if he had PK and Blanc and Eitzer in front of him, he could easily carried on to have a
And it's crazy the standard that we're speaking about, that one of the right back we're speaking of has won the Premier League, and we still
and we're saying he's not good enough. That's the kind of standards we're used to. Which so I think considering we've limited ourselves to 100 appearances, we've come up with a pretty good team.
Yeah, it is actually a very solid team, and I actually quite enjoyed taking a look at these players because I hadn't thought about most of them for a long time. And it was,
you got a couple of World Cup winners in there. Some European Championships. A couple of them won the Champions League. They won everything between them. They. So I guess it just goes to show that even if you're a quality player, it's not always going to work out at these kind of clubs.
Yeah, Di Maria.
Yeah, you have to have the right character as well. But yeah, we'll just quickly run over it again. So Ben Foster in goal, Simpson, PK, Blanc, Eitzer, Schweinsteiger, Hargreaves, Di Maria, and then Memphis, Tevez, Zlatan.
Yeah,
good team,
solid team.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all we got. That's all we had planned for this week. We'll try and come up with something new for next week to keep everyone entertained.
Let us know what you think, guys. If you've enjoyed that.
Yeah, we'll post the team on Instagram or something, and see if get anyone to comment on it, and see if there's any positions that you'd swap out.
For sure.
But yeah, so as per usual, find us on all of the social media stuff at Never Ignored. Some of them is Never Ignored Pod, but I can't actually remember which ones, but we put it in the show notes. But yeah, so we'll catch you guys next week.
Stay safe, guys.